Welcome, seekers and visionaries, to Oracle Mountain Chats. Here on this sacred virtual peak, we gather a space for oracles to share their wisdom, their visions, and their craft. It all began with a calling I could not ignore. One day, within a vision, I held this conch shell in my hands, and as I blew its resonant note into the world, I felt its vibration ripple across unseen realms. It was a summons, a signal to fellow oracles scattered near and far. I saw that we were on a mountain, vast and towering, reaching into the heavens. At its base, the world buzzed with life, people moving, creating, searching. Yet at the summit, there was stillness, clarity, and a circle of light. There, oracles stood, their gaze focused both outward and inward. They spoke of the energies they felt, the shifts they saw, and the whispers of the unseen. They weren't above the world, they were its witnesses and its guides. From this vision, OracleFest was born, a celebration of connection, insight, and the timeless wisdom that flows through us all. The message was clear. It is time. Time to meet upon this sacred mountain, to share what we hear, feel, and see. Time to bring the wisdom of the divine to a world that is yearning for its guidance. Through OracleFest, we've created a movement of community, all yearning to empower their own inner oracle. And here in Oracle Mountain Chats, we bring that spirit into a more intimate space. This is where the oracles gather to reflect, exchange ideas, and to explore what wishes to come through in the moment. This mountain is more than stone and sky. It is a meeting place of the realms, a threshold between seen and unseen, known and unknown. Here we gather as oracles to share the visions Spirit whispers to us, to speak of the energy currents flowing through nature and humanity, and to help guide those who seek answers in a world that often feels lost. So grab a seat, breathe in the mountain air, and join us as we begin today's chat. Whether it's an energy reading, a conversation about our craft, our path, or simply sharing a perspective on the world below, this is where we wait for more oracles to join us on the mountain. What wisdom will the mountain bring us today? Let's find out together. Step into this sacred space where the wisdom of the ages converges with the questions of the present. Beautiful. Here we find ourselves on the virtual mountain peak once again, this time joined with, I've been sharing your name around as part of OracleFest, Shawn. I have to say, Shawn Leonard is joining us today. And there are people from Nova Scotia who are just like raving, so excited. They're like, he's a local legend. So what a beautiful honor to have you. And we're talking about mediumship and taking messages from spirit, talking, communing with spirits. And I'm sure a lot more, because, this is not a straight path that leads us right down the talking to spirits route in life. So welcome, Shawn. Welcome to Oracle Mountain.
Well, thank you for having me here, Kate. It's a pleasure to be part of the community and the group that is going to be supporting people, helping them understand their own journey. As I think, it's really good to have people that have wisdom and knowledge to learn from, and it's an Indigenous concept to learn from people who are typically like elders, where they share wisdom, because we can't take our wisdom with us. We can't take what we've learned throughout our life. We have to give it to people in different ways. And it could be, whether you're writing a book like this book, Spirit Talker, that I've done for Hay House, or even just doing live events or podcasts, etc. There's ways of getting out into the world to share your message. And I think it's important that each of us find, oh, there goes my phone. Spirit says, turn the volume off.
More messages?
That's right. That was from the creator, yeah. But no, I think that we all have a role to play in life to learn, but also to share. And I think many people that are be coming to this event, Oracle Fest, is somebody who is an influencer, or somebody who's out there in the world who is being called to be a spiritual activator of some sort for their own ability to serve people. And and I think because I have a course called Spirit Talker Tribe myself, where I teach people intuitive psychic development, etc. But why do people take my course? I mean, not everybody wants to be a professional psychic medium or a professional psychic reader, etc. Some people just have a message. I know my ghostwriter, who writes for me, is aspiring to be a writer herself. And there's other people who read my material or pick up my Oracle card deck, Wisdom of the Elders, also published by
It's
Hay House.
gorgeous.
Yes, it is. It's done. I'll talk about that one in a minute. I'm like ADHD. You give me one thing, I'll be over there, and you'll never.
Okay, all right. I'll keep us on track.
But why do people come to learn from people like myself and from events like this where people are doing teaching sessions and readings, etc.? Is because there's something within them that is looking for guidance, one, but also there's something that wants to activate within themselves so that they can give back to the world in a greater way. And it could be, you know, a family member, it could be a friend, it could be somebody that you just run into that is struggling through something, and you want to be, approach it in a good way so that you can help them or guide them the best way that you can, whether it's through like divine guidance or using oracle cards or inspiration or even just wisdom that you've picked up over the years. Because when people of light, I'll say people who when their auras are very bright, people are drawn to you. People come to you, and why are they coming to you is not just to see your bright light. It's to learn from you. They're come to you because there's something inside you that you can share with them. And I think it's so important that we learn to work with our psychic and intuitive abilities. I've been learning my whole life. Like it's not something you can just say, okay, well, I took a course on the weekend and I'm good to go. It's something it's an ongoing process. It's a growth, and when it's like learning a language. And I wrote a book before that is no longer for sale, that which was a self-published book. It was called The Language of Spirit, and I published self-published through Balboa Press, which is in part one of the reasons why I got the Hayos publishing deal, is because I published through them. And when you have a message, I actually spent like $18,000 getting that book written and published and out into the world. I think I might have broke even,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because you make $2 back from a book, but why did I want to put a book out into the world? It's not because I'm going to enrich my life. That's not the reason why I did it, is to share that wisdom, share those teachings, share my understanding up to this point in life. And, after selling 5,000 copies, I got to tour with John Holland, and also it allowed me to get the publishing deal as well. So that this would not have been possible on the format or the level that I am today if I had not been stepping into the person that I have been my whole life. It's not like again, I took a weekend course. Next I have a publishing deal and I have a TV show, which I also just finished season 5 on APTN here in Canada, called Spirit Talker. And it's and then now I'm getting asked to be guest. I was just literally in Winnipeg to be a guest on the Ghost Hunters of Grand River for a couple episodes. And people are wanting to do shows with me, and I kind of it's really important that you do things, but also to have balance too. Because I know a
Mhm.
lot of people out in the world, who are spiritual activators, and people are giving readings, messages, etc. It's so important to realize that you have to have good, valuable you time as well, and be very grounded in life, and make sure you take care of yourself, because I know a lot of people who do this work might be getting out of balance for different reasons. And it's something I had to learn through too. So it's not like, I had all the answers when I started this. And that's why when you come to people seeking sage wisdom and etc., is because they've been through stuff, they know stuff, they've experienced things. And, through the psychic work that I've been doing for like over 25 years, I've learned how it really works. I really completely, truly understand psychic abilities. It's something that, when it did come to me, it was like something that I was open to. But when it did happen, it was profoundly life-changing for me because, when you realize you're not alone, when you're being guided, that you can receive messages, that there's spirit guides, angels, ancestors, that are walking with you on your journey. And my new book, because I've signed a two new book deal with Hay House to write two new books. And my newest book that I'm just finishing right now, I have to submit it in a couple of weeks actually, is about the spirit totem animals and how the animal nation is going to be guiding us with life, etc. And being part of my culture as a Mi'kmaq person of Nova Scotia, Canada, and learning from different cultures from all across Turtle Island, that I feel so blessed that I've been gifted so many pieces of different animals that are part of my life, and I carry that medicine. And when you're in alignment, this is what I'll tell people is when you're in alignment doing with what you're doing, you know, things will come to you. Things manifest like the book deal, the TV show, etc. The 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 pieces of the animal that that medicine you're meant to carry. I'll tell you a story about my new book just to give you a sense of it. I mean, even though the Spirit Talker is great, and that actually this story is in this book too. So kind of there's a crossover between this book and my new book that will be coming out.
Do you think
So
there's something funny? Just a side note, do you think there's something funny about like when you're connected with um, creative ways, and then with the old idea just seems so many like you're talking about spirit talker as if it's this thing that's like so in the past for you, and this is the first time our audience has like heard it. So I want to go, no, 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 go get this.
No,
Actually,
well,
the
Spirit
spirit
Talker, this
talker, yeah,
book, this book, Spirit Talker, that is a big portion of my life story.
it has
And
to
my
be right. It has to be
and
still important and valuable. But yeah, I think
oh,
as creators,
absolutely.
we tend to be, we're just on to the next thing that's moving through us, right? Anyways,
Yeah,
I had to point it out and chuckle.
absolutely. Like it's not that like it only came out a few like not even 2 years ago, for
You're
God's
right.
sakes, right? But it's been my
Old
whole
wisdom.
life,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Did I learn that like 10 years ago, I learned that whenever,
Sorry, I
but
digress. Tell me about this new book,
the
please.
book, well, Spirit Talker, I'll tell you a little bit about Spirit Talker first. It's a journey of my awakening and what I learned during that process. Every unique experience, whether it was connecting to my guides, connecting to an angel, connecting to past lives, connecting to my psychic abilities, and learning about them, was almost like an enrichment of my understanding of our divine connection to the spirit world and learning that sacred, what I say, language of spirit that is universal and can communicate with and through all of us. It's not like this is an elitist group that only so many people can do. And I know there's a lot of like limiting beliefs out there. People think, well, you have to be born this way, or this is not, this maybe this I can't do this. Well, if you have that belief, you are right because that's your belief. That's what you give power to. But if you start changing your words, your thoughts, even the way you approach spirit and say, I can do this, I am available for this, I am accepting, the spirit world to be connected to me in life and help me to serve people in the world. That's what Spirit Talker is all about, is that kind of activation, like that learning from my experience but also how it works. And there's many exercises in Spirit Talker that you can do from different meditations to connect to your spirit guide, even your animal totems, etc. And I think it's an amazing book. So I definitely don't want to like say, "Oh, this is old news," but I'm so into my new book because
I
this is what I'm
know,
doing.
I
It's
know.
not even out. Like I
Yes.
haven't even submitted it to Hay House yet. My deadline's the 20th, but I got a week extension for God's sakes. So, because there's a lot goes into writing a book,
Oh my
but
gosh. Yeah.
there's one story that's in here that's also going to ring true into my new book about spirit animal totems, because I believe there's at least four sacred animals that connect to us through our life. And according to Indigenous culture, we have a teaching on the medicine wheel. And on the medicine wheel, we have four directions, and we say that we're all one hoop of life. And within the sacred medicine wheel, you have these directions which are also represented by colors. In the eastern direction, we have, the rising sun, the yellow, and it could also represent, the Asian people of the world, right? And then you have south, which is of Turtle Island, which is the deep red people, which would be the indigenous people, right? And then when you have the west coast, you have where the sun sets. This is where the color black and black people in the world have a place in the world that we all do as well. And of course, the northern direction, which is white, connected to the north of North Pole, etc. And the Caucasian people of the world. But it takes all of us to make one circle, right? To keep that balance together, to support each other, no matter what culture or what other ethnic group that you're from. It's irrelevant because we're equally important to holding that sacred hoop of life together. But also in the medicine wheel, there's a teaching in regards to stages of life. You have your infancy, which is in the eastern direction. You have your adolescence in the south, and then you have your adult years in the west. And then as you move to the north, then you're in the elder years of life. And I think, through each stage of life, we may have a particular animal or spirit totem that connects to us, a spirit, like almost like a spirit guide. And if you think about this, in the big picture, even in Christianity, they have something kind of similar, angels. And I'm not discounting angels by any way, but you have these humanoid beings with wings, for God's sake. So there's like a crossover between, humanity and the animal world, right? And I do feel like there's a connection even in spirit, whether it's angelic, or I mean, we're light beings, moving through the world in the best way that we can. But, we also have our own animal connections. And I'll tell you, my indigenous name is actually White Eagle Spirit Talker. So Wabak Gipu Aguruna Mahajik Jig Mahamjik. So which was given to me by an elder. And that's just saying my name in Mi'kmaq. But, one night I had a dream. And, this dream that I had involved me being in a field. And this is sometimes how animals may connect to us, right? I was in this field, and for whatever reason, these seven shadows were after me, and I didn't know why they were after me. And these shadows were chasing me through the field. I was running for my life, for God's sakes. And I was like, okay, I don't know who these shadows are, but I got to get away from them. And I could see the forest on the other side, and I knew that I had to get away. And as I got closer to the forest, these seven polar bears walked out of the trees. I thought it'd be weird that polar bears would be walking out of the trees in the first place, but now the polar bears are running towards me, and I'm like, great. Now I got polar bears chasing me. I got shadows chasing me. I'm not going to survive this, I thought, but I'm running. You know the old adage, you just have to run faster than the other guys, right?
Yeah.
So, that's my plan now is to outrun them. And I realized I couldn't do it. It was something that I was not capable of doing, and I had to kind of surrender. And as I surrendered, I got on my knees and I just kind of waited for the polar bears to eat me, pretty much. And each one of them ran past me. And as they ran past me, those shadows that were in the field, each polar bear would pounce upon. And each seven of those shadows, these seven polar bears would disintegrate, not like really destroy, but disintegrate. It was almost like the shadows would just dissolve. And then all seven polar bears turned around and faced me, and they kind of walked together, and they became one bear. So one nation of this great white bear. And they stared at me. And I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, the bear was not there to harm me. This great bear was there to help me from spirit. And what better strength to have than the strength of Wabak Moon, which is the white bear. So anyway, shortly after that, I thought actually was wearing my claw right now, but I put it out to the spirit world and asked the creator to send me something to validate that connection, that medicine that I felt that was meant to carry in life. And I asked for a claw. And so anyway, I put it out to spirit. I just spoke to spirit world and I said, please send me something that would validate that experience. And I let it go. And funny thing is 3 months, my humanity got in my brain and started looking on eBay for like gold-plated polar bear claws.
Amazon really speeds up those spirit
That's
callings.
right. So I'm like, and then I'm looking and I'm like, I can't do this. This is silly. Like, this is not what I asked for.
Yeah.
Like, Right.
Isn't that so funny? Because sometimes it is just, it feels so strongly within you. You have to go search for something,
Right.
right? And then there's the part that we need to do, and then the part that spirit gifts us. And we go, wait, was that the hint? Was it that my Amazon, my cart was still open or, whatever the thing is?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't buy it. And
Yeah.
because it was gold plated, it wasn't a real polar bear claw anyway. I think it's illegal to
Right.
sell that stuff. But
Right. It lost its
um,
it lost its connection.
right. So I just spoke my intention with the spirit again. And then within a month, I got a little parcel in the mail, and it was from a lady named Barbara Kemp Bishop from Newfoundland.
Hmm.
And she goes, and she sent me a little letter, and she said, Sean, I was just in Labrador, and I met with an Inuk elder there, and he gifted me two gifts. And to tell you the story, he told me about this polar bear that he had gotten two claws from, and he gifted me one of the claws, and he said this one was meant for someone else, and you need to gift it to that person. He goes, well, who is that person? She goes, you'll know who it's meant for.
Mm.
And so she went home and thought about it. She goes, okay, I'll give it to Shawn Leonard. He's Indigenous, and maybe this will connect him in some profound and strange way. Now, mind you, she knows nothing about my dream.
Of course.
And I open it, and there's this little red cloth, and I open up the parcel, and it's a polar bear claw.
Wow.
And I was like, I just literally cried because, like what's of all of things that could come to you in life, how is it that the universe conspired to bring this to me, right? It was just
Mhm.
amazing. And within a month after that, I got another call from another lady who is on my course named Jasmine McKinnon. Said, I think somebody was really looking for a reading from you, and her and her mom are going through some stuff. So I give her a call, and I said, you know what, I'm going to tell her that I don't really do readings anymore, personal readings, because I'm just so busy with life, touring and TV show and all this. And I said I could reference somebody to you. She goes, "Oh, that's too bad. I was really looking forward to you maybe helping me and my mom." She goes, I had this old polar bear rug in my closet, and I was going to gift it to you for the reading." And I said, "Oh, let me just check my calendar."
Yeah, let me just open this calendar right up. That free time
Funny.
you were going to
When
take,
when are you
gone.
looking for that reading?
Yeah.
So we did the reading. I got a polar bear rug. And then
Wow.
another lady came and she gifted me a little piece of polar bear fur. She was a part-time taxidermist named Lori Curdo from Enfield, Nova Scotia. And she was working on a polar bear rug and had a little piece left over and gifted it to me. Now I have
Hmm.
three different parts. Now, while writing this book, this is where it gets cool. Because, not that it's not already cool, but um, on the winter solstice just passed, a lady reached out to me and said, Sean, my husband's father passed away like 5 years ago. And he went to the Yukon or Northwest Territories, and he had been given a polar bear rug that is in really good condition. It's got all the claws, the head is fully on it, and we don't know what to do with it. And we think that we like to gift it to you. And I'm like, okay, I will do that. I met her on the eve of the winter solstice just passed, and I received it. And I don't know here, maybe if I'll turn my camera on, just make
Yay.
if you see on my
Oh my goodness.
you see on my pool
Wow.
table over there,
Wow.
that's the polar bear rug. And
Wow.
it's got all the claws and everything. And this is, even we're having this conversation today. Um, I received another package in the mail today from a guy named John Moormill in Ontario. And so I opened it this morning, and it was another polar bear claw. And it was beaded with like in a specific indigenous beading and all this that he
Mm,
said from an old beading thing that fallen apart, and he felt he should gift it to me. So now mind you, I mean, as we speak, I mean, I met seven polar bears. I have five parts of different bears.
hmm.
I feel like there's still two more
Two
that are
more.
left to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, when you put something out to spirit, I think we don't realize how powerful beings that we are in relation to our connection to our ancestors, to the spirit world, to the animal nation, to the creator,
Mhm.
that, give it time. If you really truly believe and what you're asking for help with, helping guide you with like how to do oracle card readings, how to help you do healings with people, or how to do talks publicly or teachings, etc. If you ask for that support, it comes. I mean, and this is where, and when I wrote Spirit Talker, I mean, there's a part of that story that's going to be in the book because it's updated because I've gotten three more parts of Bear since I wrote Spirit Talker. And, you know, I'm just blown away by how the universe works. When I mean, even with the Hay House deal, like I don't have a book agent. I don't, I never even asked Hay House if they were interested in publishing my book. It was so weird because I mean I toured with John Holland back in the day, which I'm so fortunate with, and we became kind of good friends since that time. And I don't remember how long it's been, probably like 8 years ago. We did two shows together. I know John works with a whole lot of freaking people,
Mhm.
but he just happened to be at Hayo's headquarters, walking by some office, and heard somebody go, "We should really think about getting a few more Indigenous authors." He backs up and goes, "What did you say?" Because yeah, we're looking for another Indigenous author. We don't know anybody, do you? He goes, I just happen to do. And he says, you don't heard of Shawn Leonard? I think he's even published a book with Balboa Press. So they looked me up. Next, I get a call. I'm talking to the CEO. I have a book deal. It's just like how did that even happen?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Of
I'll
all the
tell you,
conversations they had that day and all the conversations he walked by that day
yeah,
as
just the
well. Yeah,
synchronicity of everything, right? Like, and
absolutely.
I've always put it out to the universe, like if I was ever going to publish a book and not self-publish, that I always would have wanted to be with Hay House because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they best represent, spirit and spirituality in a really profound way. The Oracle card decks are just amazing. I know if
They
we
are.
have OracleFest for God's sakes. It's not
Yes.
just about Oracle cards, but they make great cards. And I know anybody that is aspiring to be a card Oracle card author, you're probably looking at Haos yourself and thinking, oh, how can I make this happen? Well, sometimes you don't. It happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because you were following signs and living according to what is truthful for you as well, right? Like you were, I hesitate to say bravely because I hear bravely towards me, and then I think, well, I had to have had some fear in order for me to need bravery. I'm just following what's next. A lot of the
yeah,
time, you don't like you're not really counting in the fear that often once you're, more responding, I think,
yeah,
to that. But it is the bravery to continue saying yes to
it's the bear
asking for
medicine,
what's next.
bravery.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the medicine that great animal brings is bravery. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I trust you. When I stepped out, I remember the first day, because way back, let's say 2003, this is like 22 years ago, I was already working as a spirit talker and doing my little sessions and things like this. And I was with, I even became connected with another psychic named Sylvia Brown back then.
Hmm.
And I thought, because she had a whole organization called Nova Spiritus, and I thought, well, this is kind of new age Christian thinking stuff. And I thought maybe it's better than the Catholic faith that I was raised in. So I
Right.
gave it a go. And I even studied to be a minister just for a short
Wow.
time.
Wow.
Uh, and so I took her training program in ministry. I was the only psychic she ever allowed into her ministry and training program, which I thought was cool. And so anyway, one of the aspects of being a minister, because I never had any goals of like being in front of people or anything like that. It was like, well, you have to do talks at their services or what have you. And I did a talk, and I remember the talk I did. I wrote it out in great detail, and I had to actually get it authorized before I even spoke, right?
Mm.
So here I'm nervous enough that I'm putting my words on paper, but let alone it had to be
You have
approved
to
by
match,
somebody.
and then you have to match those
And
words
then
when
I
you
had
go
to
up.
say
Yeah.
it, so I got up in front of like 30 some people at this little church service and tried to speak what was written on my paper. And I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. Like I choked on every word, I swear.
Mm.
And at some point, because everybody was cringing, because I could tell everybody was cringing because I was so nervous that I
Nervous for
couldn't.
you.
Right. They were like, oh my God, let's just not plug our ears.
Isn't that so funny that type of exchange? Like you're watching them watching you, and that you're thinking,
No.
oh, they're all uncomfortable. Wait, is that because I'm uncomfortable?
But the vision I had in my head and the feeling I had in my heart of what I wanted to give people it wasn't coming out of me. It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't capable. It
Yeah.
just it was there, but I just there was so much fear.
Yeah.
But I faced it. I with that bravery, like you're saying, that bear medicine's always been with me. It's just appeared in later in life to help me know. I'm from the bear clan in Mi'kmaq
Mm,
culture,
mm.
but I never really connected to it until, later in life.
Right.
And
Interesting.
so, different stages of life, different medicines,
Yes.
right? So that
Yes.
medicine really come to me then. And so anyway, I took my paper, flipped it over, and it said, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to read something. I'm a little nervous because, and I told them why. And I just spoke from my heart.
Hmm.
And I spoke everything that was on that paper. I already knew it. I knew it, but I couldn't read it.
Hmm.
I can read, but I just couldn't read it in front of people. So I just spoke what I knew about what was on that paper, spoke it from my heart, and I hit every point that was there. And everybody got up and clapped. They said, "Oh my God, you should never read from a paper again."
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
it was like facing that fear, thinking that I couldn't do it. And because even in school, like just standing up in front of people, I was terrified.
Mm.
And now I get like I was at the Hayes conference. I think I spoke in front of, I don't know, it was like 2,000 people or something like that, 1,500 people. That's how many people I got to stand up in front of at the I Could Do conference. And it was just amazing, amazing. And even then, I wasn't even supposed to go to the I Can Do conference. Kyle Gray, unfortunately, had his mom wasn't well and he had to cancel. So they start looking for people and they said, well, maybe Shawn can fill a spot. See, here I'm filling for Kyle Gray at the
Wow.
I Could Do conference and his teaching spot on the big stage. Like, what amazing opportunity for me to kind of like, if Spirit has a plan for us, and if you are in alignment and you're stepping into it, you're moving forward in life, don't be surprised how Spirit, kind of like comes together to provide opportunities for you
Hmm.
and give you the book deal, give you the TV show, give you things like that. I'm not saying that spirit work is all about that, but it's things that I've always aspired to do, but I never really searched for. They've just come to me. And I feel like when you're doing your life's work and doing what you're meant to be doing, everything aligns.
Hmm.
It may take some time, but just keep pushing forward. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing what you feel like you need to give to the world, and it will come.
It's beautiful. A beautiful testament as well to the idea that it is like a co-creation. It is a collaboration of you every day step forward with the trust that things are going to work out as long as you keep following that call and that it keeps responding to that same belief. And so you keep finding exactly that. You keep coming across these pieces of white bear medicine. You keep coming into opportunities that you wouldn't have actually believed had you been chasing at it directly, but then it comes to your lap so easily, so easily that it would be hard to imagine, I think, until you start really committing to that next step, that next step, that next step from this call. I really love what you were saying too. It reminded me of, I was talking to Tony Ghazi, one of our other OracleFest speakers, who does channeling of praying mantis beings. And Tony's upbringing, he had a stutter, and so you had this fear of using your voice. You had this fear of speaking in front of other people. But then when you trust spirit, it arrives through your heart. Like it is so natural. Tony says that when he channels, there's no stutter completely. You wouldn't have even believed it, him knowing his whole life until that moment. And for you as well, that confidence, it's spirit backed, right? Like spirit has your back kind of as it helps gesture you onto the stage with that confidence.
Yeah, and now I get to like I do cross Canada tours. I'm going to the Mag Institute in August to teach and with Dr. Raymond Moody and a few other people. So, I mean, again, I didn't even look for that. It just now when you start getting out there, people will start looking for you. And I love that because I want to share. I do. I really want to give out to the world and share what I know, my knowledge, my wisdom, and help people understand that, we're all psychic on different levels and we can enrich that and strengthen that and help that to grow, how to understand it. And coming up on our teaching here for the OracleFest, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to talk about how to, develop, and I'm going to help you understand from an Indigenous perspective, mediumship, spirit talking, and how even my people were connected to that in the past. to help you understand what it's like to see, what it's like to feel, what it's like to hear, and then how you can strengthen those abilities.
Oh, beautiful. We're so blessed. I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed and woven. I'm sure we'll do again. And thank you so much for following the call and also for your inspirational warmth. I have this like very much sense of maybe it's just because I'm from Turtle Island also. And so I have this, my dad's from Newfoundland, and maybe I have this sort of just like, oh, this is so nice just to sit and chat.
I love
Oh,
chatting too.
yeah. I think
I'm
I just
still
so
human
it's
for
just so
God's
nice.
sakes.
Yeah.
We're still just people doing our best and
Yeah.
to live a good life and be of service to people, I'd say. But
Yeah. That's
yeah,
amazing.
we're
That's amazing.
like-minded. We're like-minded.
Like-hearted, like-minded. Yep, I love all of that, and also following the call of spirit. How beautiful to just meet more people and be inspired by more people on this path. So thank you for being a part of OracleFest, for being here on Oracle Mountain today, and then we'll see you at the event, and people can learn a lot more about talking to spirit and also mediumship.
And it's February 2nd, right?
Yes, January 31st to February 2nd, and we will be seeing you February 2nd.
We'll see you then.
Beautiful.